In the frigid waters of the North Atlantic and the North Sea, thousands of massive European vessels set sail every year. This isn't a casual voyage, it's a grueling race that lasts for days, sometimes weeks. Their target? Herring. It looks like an ordinary fish, but it is actually the backbone of an entire industry. For generations of fishermen in Norway, the Netherlands, Denmark, Scotland, and Iceland, it's not just a catch, it's a heavy cultural legacy. Today, the game has completely changed. Fishing is no longer just about old-school skill, it's a high-tech battle. We're talking giant vessels, highly trained crews, and processing plants waiting on shore. At the first dim light of dawn, the operation kicks off. The harbor is blanketed in thick fog. Men in waterproof overalls, rubber boots, and hard hats move with purpose. There is no time for small talk. Everyone knows their position. They head toward the ships, massive steel hulls that look like floating fortresses. These boats are packed with cutting-edge tech, radars, satellite GPS, and sonar that pierces the ocean depths. These aren't your grandpa's fishing boats. This is total domination of the sea. Some vessels can hold hundreds of tons of fish and come equipped with flash freezing systems, preserving every single fish as if it were just pulled from the water. When the ship reaches the designated fishing grounds, the high-stakes work begins. The captain isn't looking out at the water, his eyes are glued to the screens. The sonar scans the deep, searching and analyzing, until a signal appears, bright, dense flashes on the monitor. A massive school. Herring don't move alone, they travel as a single, tightly packed unit, either hugging the ocean floor or suspended mid-water. Once the target is clear on the screen, there's no room for hesitation. The captain gives the order. Drop the nets. Suddenly, the ship moves like a single machine. Giant nets are launched from the stern, rapidly deploying and wrapping around the school in a tight, inescapable circle. Then comes the heavy haul. Trapped, the fish are corralled toward their fate. Some vessels use massive vacuum hoses to pump the fish aboard using water pressure. The herring are pulled in alive, minimizing bruising and damage. Why? Quality control. Everything here is calculated. There is zero room for guesswork. The moment they hit the deck, the clock starts ticking. They are dumped into tanks filled with ice or chilled water, kept at precise temperatures. A fast-moving crew immediately clears out debris and sorts out other species. No mistakes, no delays. As the hours tick by, the ship gradually fills to maximum capacity. Only then does the chase end and the journey back to port begins. But nobody is waiting around to celebrate. As soon as the ships are unloaded, everyone gears up for the next round. Once the herring hits the docks, it enters a relentless industrial world. Processing plants in Europe operate 24/7 during peak season. Thousands of tons flow in daily, leaving the facility in various forms. At the start of the line, the fish are washed with ice-cold water before moving to automated sorting belts. Nothing is left to chance. Every fish is measured by size, fat content, and freshness. This data decides its fate. Some are salted, some smoked, others canned, and some are turned into frozen fillets or fish oils. Despite all this technology, some plants still preserve centuries-old traditions. Traditional barrel salting involves layering herring in large wooden barrels with salt, leaving them to ferment slowly for days before packing them into glass jars or tins for export to distant markets. Right next to these traditional setups are cutting-edge robotic lines. Robots cut, clean, skin, and debone the fish with flawless precision, portioning them into ready-to-eat meals. Some undergo heat treatment for cooking, while others are blast frozen at extreme temperatures, reaching -40 degrees Fahrenheit, -40 degrees Celsius, followed by vacuum packaging for a long shelf life. Canned herring is a hot commodity, especially in the Netherlands and Scandinavia, and it's exported in massive quantities to markets across Asia, Africa, and the United States. Quality assurance. Throughout production, sanitation is an absolute red line. Workers wear full protective gear and pass through sterilization chambers before entering production zones. Machinery is thoroughly sanitized on a strict schedule, and lab samples continuously test fish quality. Some advanced plants even use blockchain technology to track every single batch from catch to packaging, ensuring total transparency. Nothing goes to waste. Heads, bones, and offal are sent to specialized facilities to be recycled into animal feed, fish oil, or organic fertilizers, maximizing the economic value of every single fish. This industry doesn't just put food on plates. It employs tens of thousands of people and drives coastal economies. Every year, millions of tons of herring are caught under strict, heavily monitored quotas to prevent overfishing and protect the resource. Herring is deeply woven into local culture. In historic coastal villages, people still celebrate the season's first catch, where the first fish is traditionally presented to village elders as a token of good luck. For generations, herring has symbolized the bounty of the sea and the relentless work ethic of the people who harvest it. Life on board is brutal. Bitter cold, fierce winds, and unforgiving waves. Crews work around the clock on rotating 6 to 8 hour shifts, sleeping in cramped quarters and eating basic hot meals. Yet, they stick with it. They love the sea, and there is an unmatched sense of pride in returning to port with a hull full of fresh fish. This isn't just a job. It's a livelihood that feeds countless families and fuels a global supply chain. Many of these men started out as teenagers, growing old on the water until their hair turned gray. Yet, they wouldn't choose any other life. As the herring season transitions, another massive operation begins, the European mackerel fishery. Mackerel is one of the most commercially valuable species in the world. They run in dense schools, migrating seasonally through the chilly waters of the North Sea, the Norwegian Sea, and the Northeast Atlantic, particularly between Iceland, the Faroe Islands, Norway, and Scotland. Every year, hundreds of high-capacity vessels head out to intercept these massive schools, bringing back hundreds of thousands of tons of fish for global export. Because mackerel travel in massive, highly coordinated schools during spawning and migration, modern industrial fleets can easily track them using advanced sonar and radar systems. European mackerel operations typically use single or pair trawling methods with midwater pelagic nets. These nets are gargantuan, stretching hundreds of yards long and standing taller than a 10-story building. They open up like giant funnels, held wide by heavy steel doors as the ships steam forward. When sonar detects a large enough school, 2 ships deploy the net in a perfectly synchronized maneuver, wrapping around the school in minutes. Once trapped, the crew uses heavy hydraulic systems to haul in the net, concentrating the fish into the cod end, the back of the net. A single haul can yield dozens, sometimes hundreds of tons of fish. Modern trawlers then use massive vacuum pumps to pump the fish directly from the net into the ship's holds. On deck, the fish are automatically sorted and immediately sent to deep freeze holds. These modern ships feature storage capacities of thousands of tons, utilizing advanced ammonia or carbon dioxide refrigeration systems to drop temperatures between -4 degrees Fahrenheit and -40 degrees Fahrenheit, -20 degrees Celsius to -40 degrees Celsius. Freezing the fish immediately at sea is critical to locking in freshness and nutritional value. Some vessels are even equipped to package or pre-process the fish right on board to save time once they hit the docks.
Once the ship hits maximum capacity, it heads back to port. The fish are rapidly transferred via refrigerated trucks or automated conveyor belts to processing facilities located right by the harbors.
Inside the plant, the frozen mackerel is carefully thawed in cold brine solutions to maintain meat texture and quality. Automated lines and human workers clean, gut, and sort the fish by size. A huge portion of the catch is machine filleted, seasoned, smoked, or canned. In several European countries, smoked mackerel is a premium export product, often packed in gold-accented tins for high-end markets in Europe and Japan. Product quality is strictly tested in labs, checking for antibiotic residues, heavy metals, fat content, and freshness.
Because mackerel is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and healthy fats, it's a dietary staple, especially in northern countries. Strict regulations govern the entire operation. Each country dictates specific annual quotas. Vessels must log their positions via GPS, submit daily catch reports, and face random at-sea inspections by Coast Guards. Satellite monitoring ensures total transparency and sustainability across the board.
Despite the challenges, mackerel fishing is incredibly lucrative. A single successful trip can net between 500 to 700 tons of fish, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars, euros, in profit. That's why nations like Norway and Iceland invest so heavily in upgrading their fleets with the latest tech to boost efficiency and cut overhead. Ultimately, the mackerel fishery is a textbook example of modern, vertically integrated supply chains. Many seafood companies own the boats, the processing plants, the cold storage facilities, and even the logistics trucks. This tight integration means a fish can go from ocean to consumer-ready packaging in just a matter of hours, ensuring peak freshness. Because the fishery is highly seasonal, running primarily from October to March when the fish have the ideal weight and fat content, every single trip is a high-stakes investment in timing, technology, and execution.